What if I told you there are people who think they're saved right now who will one day stand before God and hear him say, I never knew you. They weren't lost or confused. They were just wrong the whole time. The scariest part about this is that you can feel completely confident you're saved and still be completely wrong. Because most people base their salvation on a moment, a prayer they prayed, a time they felt something, a decision that they made, but they never stop to ask what actually changed after that. Your life still looks the same. Your habits haven't changed. Your desires haven't changed. You still live for yourself, but you hold on to this one thing and say, I'm saved. But listen to this. In James chapter 2, verse 19, it says, You say you have faith, for you believe that there is one God. Good for you. Even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror. Think about that. Demons aren't atheists. They know God is real. They know who Jesus is. They understand truth, but nothing about them is surrendered to him. So if your faith is just, I believe in God, I believe Jesus is real, that puts you in the same category as the demons. The difference isn't belief. The difference is surrender. Real faith doesn't just agree with God. It submits to him. It changes you. It convicts you. It pulls you away from sin. Not perfectly, but consistently. So if nothing in your life has changed, if there's no conviction, no fight against sin, no desire for God, then you have to ask yourself, what am I actually putting my confidence in? Because this isn't about a moment you had. It's about a life that follows. A lot of people can point back to a time, a prayer, an experience, a moment where they felt something real. But Jesus never said, follow me once. He said, follow me. And following requires continuing. It requires staying, enduring, not walking away when it gets hard. Listen to this. In Colossians chapter 1, verse 22 to 23, it says, Yet now he has reconciled you to himself through the death of Christ in his physical body. As a result, he has brought you into his own presence, and you are holy and blameless as you stand before him without a single fault. But you must continue to believe this truth and stand firmly in it. Don't drift away from the assurance you received when you heard the good news. Did you catch that? You must continue. Not just start, continue. Not just a moment, but a life that stays rooted. A life that doesn't drift. Because nobody just wakes up one day and walks away. It happens slowly. Less time with God, more compromise, sin starts to feel normal. And before you even realize it, you've drifted. This doesn't mean you'll be perfect. You will struggle. You will fail. But there's a difference between struggling with sin and settling into it. Real faith fights. Even when it's weak, even when it's messy, it doesn't give up. So the question isn't, did you start with God at some point? The question is, are you still walking with him right now? Because there are people who started and didn't finish. So what does real salvation actually look like? Because if this is serious, then we need to be clear. The Bible never describes salvation as something that leaves you the same. It describes it as something that transforms you. In 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, it says, This means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone, a new life has begun. A new person. Not improved, not slightly better, new. That doesn't mean you become perfect overnight, but it does mean you don't stay the same. Your desires start to change. Sin doesn't sit the same with you anymore. Things you used to justify, now they start to convict you. You begin to want God, not just what he can give you, but him. And yeah, you'll still fall. You'll still have moments where you mess up. But now there's a tension, a fight. Before, you could sin and not think about it twice. Now, you can't ignore it. So if you can live in sin without conviction, without resistance, without it bothering you, you have to ask, Has anything actually changed? Because real salvation doesn't just change your destination, it changes your direction. So, how do you actually know if your faith is real? The Bible doesn't tell you to ignore that question, it tells you to face it. In 2 Corinthians, again, chapter 13, verse 5, it says, "Examine yourselves to see if your faith is genuine. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Jesus Christ is among you. If not, you have failed the test of genuine faith." That means this isn't something you assume. It's something you test, not based on what you said one time, not based on what you felt in a moment, but based on your life right now. Do you actually desire God or just the idea of Him? Do you hate your sin or are you comfortable in it? When you fall, do you run back to Him or just drift further away? Is there evidence in your life that He's changing you? Even slowly, even imperfectly? Is there something different? This isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. Because at the end of the day, you can convince other people, you can look the part, you can even convince yourself, but you can't fool God. So don't just assume you're saved. Make sure your faith is genuine. I'm not saying any of this from a place of having it all together. I struggle with this too, every single day. I have to examine myself, check my heart, and come back to God daily, because I don't want to stand before Him one day thinking I was good and find out I was wrong. So if you're watching this, don't ignore this. Don't brush it off. Take it seriously. Go to God. Ask Him to reveal anything in your life that isn't right. Ask Him to change your heart and actually surrender to Him. If this spoke to you, subscribe for more videos like this. And let me know in the comments, what's one thing God is convicting you about right now? Because this isn't about being comfortable, it's about being right with God. If you like this video, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.